I grew up in a tiny mountain town where winters came fast and hit hard. Christmas nights were always quiet, snow piling against the windows, wind howling through the trees, and everyone inside with hot cocoa by the fire. But the Christmas I turned 17, that night still haunts me. My parents had gone to a late Christmas Eve service, and I stayed home because I wasn't feeling well. The house felt unusually cold, even with the heater on. Outside, snow was falling so heavily, it looked like the world was disappearing behind a white curtain. I was lying on the couch under a blanket, watching the tree lights flicker. Around 11:45 p.m., the power glitched, just for a second, but enough to make the whole room jump into darkness before the lights flicked back on. I told myself it was the storm. Then I heard footsteps outside, slow, heavy, crunching in the deep snow. My living room window faced our front yard, which was usually peaceful and blanketed in untouched snow. But as the footsteps got closer, I felt something I can't fully explain. A pressure in the air, like the house itself was holding its breath. I sat up, listening. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Someone, or something, was walking directly toward the window. I froze. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it echo in my ears. Moments later, a shadow stretched across the snow. Tall, too tall. It moved slowly, deliberately, like it wasn't trying to hide. I slid off the couch and crawled toward the wall, keeping low. The footsteps stopped right outside the window. I didn't want to look, but I had to. As carefully as I could, I peeked over the edge of the window ledge. There was a figure standing there, but it wasn't a person, not the way we are. The shape was human-like, but stretched, elongated. Its arms hung past where its knees should have been. Its head tilted slightly, studying the house. Snow clung to its body, but none of it melted, like whatever that thing was. It wasn't giving off heat at all. Then, as if sensing me, its head snapped toward the window. And I swear, it smiled. Not with lips, with its eyes. They widened, bright and reflective, almost bluish, like ice catching moonlight. And it leaned closer. I ducked down instantly, heart hammering, breath shaking. I could hear it shift its weight, snow crunching beneath it. Then, slowly, it moved away from the window. I dared to look again. It wasn't leaving. It was circling the house. My phone buzzed suddenly, making me jump. It was Mom. Leaving church now. Roads are really bad. Be home in 20. I wanted to tell her not to come home, but the words wouldn't form. My hands were shaking too hard. The footsteps circled toward the back of the house. Then the back door handle rattled, metal scraping, slow, deliberate. I clamped a hand over my mouth to stop myself from making any sound. The handle jiggled once more, then stopped. For a few seconds, everything went silent. I thought maybe it had gone, until I heard it. Breathing, right outside the door. Wet, icy gasps, like it was inhaling frozen air and letting it melt in its throat. Then a whisper, not a word but a sound, low and dragging, like something learning how to speak. The door creaked, just slightly. I ran to the hallway closet and slipped inside, shutting the door silently. I pressed my back against the wall, praying the thing wouldn't hear me. The house went dead quiet. Then footsteps, inside the house. Heavy, slow, wet. It had gotten in. My stomach dropped. Tears blurred my vision as the footsteps moved room to room. Something scraped against the walls, sniffing, dragging. It was searching, for me. The closet door handle twitched. I squeezed my eyes shut. The handle turned, stopped, then turned the other way. I bit down on my sleeve to stop myself from screaming. Suddenly, My parents' car pulled into the driveway. Headlights flashed through the living room. The thing let out a sharp, screeching hiss, like metal scraping ice. Then its footsteps moved faster, rushing toward the back of the house. The door slammed. By the time my parents came inside, I was shaking uncontrollably, sitting in the closet, unable to speak. Dad checked every window and door. Nothing was broken. No footprints inside, but outside, there was a single trail looping around the house. One set, huge, deep, and leading off into the woods. The police said it was probably a large deer. But deer don't stand 6 feet tall. Deer don't smile at your window. Deer don't try to open your back door. And every Christmas night since then, just after midnight, I hear footsteps in the snow outside my window, and something stops right where it did before, just watching. I was working the Christmas night shift as a paramedic, the kind of cold December night where the city feels emptied out, like everyone with warmth or family had already gone home. The streets were quiet. The snow was falling slow and heavy, and everything looked unreal under the orange streetlights. By 2:40 a.m., my partner Miguel and I were sitting in the ambulance parked outside St. Vincent's, sipping lukewarm coffee, just trying to stay awake. "If we get one more call tonight," he grumbled, "I'm quitting and becoming a mall Santa." I laughed, but the truth was, the silence felt wrong. Christmas nights are usually chaotic, fires, fights, slips, drunks, but this night felt held, like something was waiting. At 3:17 a.m., the radio crackled. "Unit 14B, welfare check at 12 Langford Street. Caller reports someone knocking on their door repeatedly and refusing to speak." Miguel groaned. "Knocking? That's it?" But the dispatcher spoke again, voice tight. "Be advised, this is the 4th call from that address this month." We looked at each other. 4th? Snow thickened as we drove. Langford Street was a strip of old Victorian homes, all dark, all quiet, except one, number 12. A dull yellow porch light flickered while snow piled on the steps. A middle-aged woman cracked the door open before we even knocked. Her eyes were red, terrified. "You're here. Thank God," she whispered. He knocked again. "He?" I asked. She nodded. "Tall, thin. He stands right there on the walkway. He never speaks, just knocks. 3 times, always 3. Miguel and I stepped outside, scanning the yard. Footprints in the snow led from the street, straight to the porch steps. But they didn't turn around. They didn't go anywhere else. They just stopped. "No one else lives with you?" I asked. "No. And I didn't open the door. I never do." Miguel walked down the steps, shining his flashlight around. The snow made everything quiet in that eerie, muffled way. After a minute, he muttered, "No one here. Probably some messed up neighbor kid." But the woman shook her head. "Kids don't knock like that. And kids don't stand still for 20 minutes. We were about to leave when Miguel froze. "Do you hear that?" I did. Knocking. 3 slow knocks. But they weren't coming from the front door. They were coming from inside the house. The woman's face drained. "Oh God, no, no." Miguel motioned to her. "Ma'am, stay behind us." We followed the sound down the hallway to a narrow basement door. The wood looked old, the handle rusted. Another knock, low and deliberate, vibrated through the door. I whispered, "You said you don't open the door when he knocks." "That's the front door," she whispered back. "Not that." Miguel swallowed. "Ma'am, who's supposed to be downstairs?" "No one," she said. "I don't use the basement. I haven't in years." The temperature dropped. My breath misted. Miguel reached for the handle, but something, instinct, fear, made him stop. "Call it in," he whispered to me. Before I could, the knocking stopped. Silence filled the hall. Then a scraping sound, slow, dragging, like something heavy was pulling itself across concrete. The woman started crying quietly. I told all of them he comes inside if I don't answer the porch. The basement door moved, just a shiver, like something pressed against it from the other side. Miguel backed up. "We're leaving, all of us, right now." We escorted her outside. As soon as we stepped onto the porch, the house behind us creaked, deep, shifting, like the foundation itself groaned. I turned around just in time to see the porch light flicker and die. We drove her to a relative's house. She didn't speak the whole ride, just stared at the snow-blurred window like she expected to see someone in it. When we finally finished the call, Miguel said quietly, "Those footprints, they didn't walk away." "I know." "Something else," he added. "We didn't tell her." "What?" He swallowed hard. "When you were checking the yard, I saw someone standing in the upstairs window, tall, thin, still, watching. I felt my stomach twist." "We were all outside," I whispered. He nodded. "We reported the incident. No one followed up. No one ever does on Christmas night. But 1 week later, during a night shift, Miguel called me over with a strange look. 'Bro, you need to hear this.' Dispatch replayed a call. A woman whispering, terrified. 'He's back. He's knocking again.' And then 3 slow knocks right beside the phone. The address was the same, 12 Langford Street. But the woman we took that night, she died 2 days before the call was made." The Christmas I was 20, I got stuck working the late shift at the local convenience store. The storm outside had shut down most of the town. Snow pounded the streets, wind rattling the windows so hard it sounded like someone, or something, was trying to get inside. I didn't mind. It was quiet and paid well, at least. I thought it was quiet. Around 11:30 p.m., a customer appeared in the doorway. I could barely make him out at first. He was tall, thin, wrapped in a bright red coat. His hood covered most of his face, but his presence made the room feel colder than the weather outside, as if the warmth itself was being sucked out of the air. Hi," I said, smiling nervously. "What can I get you?" He didn't answer. He just stood there, staring at the shelves, frozen. "Sir, you need something?" I asked again. No movement. No response. Just that red coat and the way the wind seemed to follow him in. I felt a chill creeping up my spine. Something about him was wrong. I'd worked this shift dozens of times and never had a customer just stand still like that. I cleared my throat. "Okay, well, I'll be at the counter if you need help." He turned slowly, head tilting unnaturally, and his eyes met mine, pale, almost gray, empty, yet piercing. The kind that makes you feel like your secrets are on display. Then, without moving his mouth, he whispered, "Are you alone?" My heart jumped. Yeah, I'm alone tonight. You can come up to the counter, I guess?" He didn't move toward the counter. He stayed in the same spot, just staring. I noticed the snow clinging to his coat wasn't melting at all, even near the heater. His presence seemed unnatural, like the shadows themselves were leaning toward him. I decided to ignore him, thinking maybe he was drunk or hallucinating due to exhaustion. I rang up a couple of snacks for another customer who had just come in and hurried to the back to restock some shelves. When I came back, the red coat was gone. The door had been locked the whole time. I froze. Then I heard it, a soft, dragging sound like boots on wet tiles. Slow, measured, behind the snack aisle. "Hello?" I called out. My voice sounded ridiculous even to me. No answer. I stepped cautiously toward the aisle. Something made me glance toward the front of the store. The red coat was now standing right at the counter, no footsteps to match, no sound of movement. I blinked. He was closer, too close. I backed up, heart hammering. "Sir, you need to leave." He leaned closer, and his voice came out louder this time, still not moving his lips. "You shouldn't be here alone." A bell jingled at the door. I thought maybe someone entered, but the parking lot was empty. I spun around. The red coat was gone. I ran to the door, unlocked it, and bolted outside. Snow crunched beneath my boots, my breath visible in the frigid air. The parking lot was empty, quiet, too quiet. I told myself it was over, that maybe exhaustion, stress, or bad imagination had made me see things. I stayed outside for 10 minutes, trying to calm down. Then I felt it, a presence, right behind me. I froze. Slow, heavy footsteps pressed into the snow. Not fast, not chasing, just there, matching my pace. I dared to glance over my shoulder. No one. I shook my head and started walking faster. The snow shifted behind me, following. I ran. I made it to my car, locked the doors, and didn't look back until I started the engine. That's when I saw him, standing at the edge of the lot under the flickering streetlight, tall, thin in the red coat, watching me. Then he raised a hand, slow, deliberate, like he was waving goodbye. But the way he smiled, it wasn't friendly. I swore I could see frost forming along the edges of his coat, though the wind had died down. The next morning, the store was empty when I returned. No footprints in the snow leading to or from the lot. Not a single one. I quit that day. Never worked another late Christmas shift. But every year, as the snow piles high and the wind howls on Christmas Eve, I remember that red coat. And sometimes, when I'm alone in my apartment, I swear I hear the dragging of boots outside my window, and a whisper, low and deliberate, "You shouldn't be here alone."